Namaskar, a warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. I'm Anita Anand, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines: India, France and UAE to establish a trilateral cooperation initiative in the energy, defense, economy and other areas of mutual interest. The first G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting under India's presidency to be held in Bengaluru from 5th to 7th of February. India's macroeconomic fundamentals not affected by Adani Group's FPO withdrawal, says Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Sri Lanka celebrates 75 years of its independence today. New Delhi says it will stand by Colombo in its hour of need. Ganga Vilas cruise reaches Bangladesh amidst a warm welcome. India observes World Cancer Day on Saturday, focus on early detection and affordable treatment. And in sports, the mascots, theme song and jersey for Khelo India Winter Games launched by Union Minister of Sports in Jammu. India, France and the UAE have agreed to establish a formal trilateral cooperation initiative with the aim of expanding cooperation in various fields of mutual interest. In this context, a phone call between the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, his French counterpart Catherine Colonna and UAE's Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan was held on Saturday to adopt a roadmap for the implementation of this initiative. During this call, the three sides agreed that the trilateral initiative will serve as a forum to promote the design and execution of cooperation projects in the fields of energy, in the fight against climate change and the protection of biodiversity, particularly in the Indian Ocean region. In a joint statement, the three countries said that they will explore the possibility of working with the Indian Ocean Rim Association to pursue concrete, actionable projects on clean energy, environment and biodiversity. It was also noted that the initiative will serve as a platform to expand cooperation between the development agencies of three countries on sustainable projects. The three countries will also seek to ensure a greater alignment of their respective economic, technological and social policies with the objectives of the Paris Agreement. In support of these endeavours, a range of trilateral events will be organized in the framework of the Indian presidency of the G20 and the UAE's hosting of COP28 this year. The three sides also underlined their keen desire to cooperate in the field of circular economy under the aegis of India's Mission Life. It was acknowledged that the defence is an area of close cooperation between the three countries. Therefore, efforts will be undertaken to further promote compatibility and joint development and co-production while seeking out avenues for further collaboration and training between the three countries' defence forces. Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Saturday said that India's macroeconomic fundamentals or its economic image haven't been affected by the Adani Group's withdrawal of its 20,000 crore rupees FPO. She was addressing a post-budget press conference in Mumbai on Saturday. The Finance Minister cited the inflow of forest reserves to prove that India's reputation as a market is intact on the global scale. She said in the last 2 days alone, $8 billion forex came in. Mrs. Sitharaman further said that FPOs come and go and that such fluctuations occur across markets. She also added that regulators are addressing the Adani issue, saying that the RBI made a statement prior to that banks, LIC came out and told about their exposure. She added that regulators independent of the government are left to themselves to do what is appropriate, so the market is well regulated. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Welcome back to the world news, and now let's take a look at G20 events this week. India hosted a series of meetings for G20 delegates across the country.
G20 India 2023. One Earth, one family, one future.
Hyderabad G20 Startup 20. Hyderabad hosted the two-day G20 Startup 20 Inception meeting from 28th to 29 January. Around 180 delegates representing G20 countries and 9 special invitee countries, besides representatives of all stakeholders of the startup ecosystem, participated in the Inception meeting. As G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant said that the deliberations over ways and means to increase the flow of investments and how to use Indian digital public infrastructure, among others, are also in the pipeline. The working group provided inputs to G20 leaders regarding issues relating to startups at the global level. Ahead of the summit meeting of Startup 20, scheduled in July at Gurugram, the working group will meet at Sikkim, Bengaluru and Andaman Nicobar for further deliberations. Chandigarh G20 meeting. The first Financial Structure Working Group two-day meet under India's G20 presidency was inaugurated in Chandigarh on 30th January by Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Narendra Singh Tomar and Food Processing Industries Minister Pashupati Kumar Paras. A laser, sound and light show on the G20 theme, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or One Earth, One Family, One Future, was organized for the G20 delegates at Sukhna Lake, Chandigarh. As many as 93 delegates from 50 nations, including both representatives of G20 as well as guest countries and international organizations, attended the meeting of the International Financial Architecture Working Group, which concluded on 31st January. IFA co-chair William Roos from France, Byung-Sik Jung from South Korea, Manisha Sinha, Additional Secretary, Union Finance Ministry, RBI Advisor Mahua Rai were also present at the meeting. Amitabh Kant Model G20 Summit. India's G20 Sherpa, Mr. Amitabh Kant, inaugurated India's first Model G20 Summit organized by Rambhau Malgi Prabodhini's Indian Institute of Democratic Leadership on 30th January. The two-day Model G20 Summit was organized at Rambhau Malgani Prabodhini's Uttan campus near Mumbai to celebrate India's presidency and take the idea of G20 to the youth. Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, President of ICCR and Vice Chairman of Rambhau Malgi Prabodhini, chaired the inaugural ceremony. Puducherry G20 meeting. The G20 Science 20 Inception meeting was held in Puducherry on 31st January. Scientists from 10 G20 member nations, along with scientists from India's premier science institutions, participated in the deliberations. Dr. G. Rangarajan, Director of Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, welcomed the gathering, while India Chair 2023 Professor Ashutosh Sharma delivered keynote comments. The invited science fraternity presented views and recommendations after 6 sessions of deliberations. Karnataka G20 Summit. A model G20 summit was organized for students of over 20 schools in Bengaluru on 30th January. The Bengaluru MP Tejasvi Surya organized the model G20 summit to mark India's ascendancy as its president and to inspire young minds. The problem-solving abilities and interpersonal skills of students were honed up through exposure to global issues of significance. Around 70 student delegates, symbolically representing G20 member nations and guest countries, discussed issues related to green development, climate finance, and life. 3 sessions were held in accordance with the Sherpa outlines of the Development Working Group priorities. G20 Chennai. The first G20 Education Working Group meeting took place in Chennai from 1st to 2nd February. The working group meeting was inaugurated by Dr. L. Murugan, Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting and Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. Detailed discussion on themes which will help the global community find long-term sustainable solutions to similar education challenges being faced by member countries placed in different geographies took place. The India Chair of G20 Education Working Group and Secretary of Higher Education, Sri Sanjay Murthy, said that the best practices in tech-related education in member countries were discussed in a major way. The meet also discussed in a detailed manner with regards to areas for an inclusive, equitable, relevant and quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. Mr. Murthy further said that there would be 3 supplementary meetings of the educational group before the wide consensus will be arrived in the last meeting, scheduled to be held in June this year. Ministry of School Education Secretary Thiru Sanjay Kumar said outcome of the meeting will be documented, which will be taken forward in the next meeting to be held from 15th to 17th March in Amritsar in Punjab. The guest countries that is Bangladesh, Egypt, Mauritius, Netherlands, Nigeria, Oman, Singapore, Spain and United Arab Emirates attended the Education Working Group meet. As a unique initiative, exhibits from G20 countries on digital education initiatives and enabling digital technologies was also showcased for 3 days. IIT Madras G20 Seminar. IIT Madras hosted a seminar on role of digital technology in education. The seminar was chaired by K. Sanjay Murthy, Secretary, Department of Higher Education, Government of India. Professor V. Kamakoti, Director, IIT Madras, spoke on the use of digital technologies by G20 members to provide accessible, inclusive and equitable education for all. Sanjay Kumar, Secretary of School Education, and Anil Sahasrabudhe, Chairman of NETF, that is National Education Technology Forum, and Atul Kumar Tiwari, Secretary of Skill Education, Government of India, chaired the sessions. 69 delegates from 19 countries participated in the day-long event, which also included other activities such as audio walkthrough to showcase the history, vision and mission of IIT Madras and a visit to 3 centers of excellence, the Heritage Center, the Center for Innovation and the Brain Center. Professor Kamakoti mentioned that the seminar had generated a lot of interest among G20 member countries, with 15 countries having sent the inputs highlighting their best practices in the field of digital technology for school education, higher education and skill development. Guwahati G20. The first Sustainable Finance Working Group meeting under G20 Finance Track was held in Guwahati from 2nd to 3rd of February. Union Minister for Ports, Shipping, Waterways and Ayush, Sarbanand Sonowal, inaugurated the opening session of the meet. Addressing the inaugural session, the minister said that the world must work for a cleaner and greener society and urged all to cut the carbon footprints and urged the representatives of the G20 member countries to act collectively to make sustainable lifestyle a mass movement. He informed that India has adopted and has been promoting the sustainable development for its national development. The 2-day meet was focused to identify the difficulties of sustainable finance for climate action and to seek for an equitable growth for the well-being of the people worldwide. Rajasthan G20. The first G20 Employment Working Group meet concluded in Jodhpur on 4th of February. The valedictory session was addressed by India as chair and Indonesia and Brazil as co-chair. A total of 11 sessions were organized in this 3-day meeting. These sessions mainly focused on bringing equality in the demand and supply of skills, gig and platform economy and sustainable financing of the Social Security Scheme. Creating a common platform for the harmonization of skills across the world was also discussed in the meeting. After the changing situation post-COVID and the increasing intervention of technology, these subjects have become significant for all developed and developing countries. This was the first meeting of this group. The same agenda would be discussed in the 3 more meetings to be held in coming months. Before we wrap up the G20 events in India this week, a sneak peek into the upcoming week's events. G20 Tourism Meeting. The first Tourism Working Group TWG meeting will be held in Dhordo in Rann of Kutch in Gujarat from 7th to 9th of February as part of G20. Union Minister of Tourism G. Kishan Reddy, Union Minister of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying Parshottam Rupala and Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel will attend the inaugural session of the meeting on the 8th of February. Briefing the media in Gandhinagar, Principal Secretary of Economic Affairs of Government of Gujarat, Mona Khan said this secretary-level meeting will focus on 5 priority areas including green tourism, digitalization, skills, tourism MSMEs and destination management. The meeting will be attended by officials from G20 countries, invited countries and representatives of various international organizations such as ADB, UNDP, etc. Karnataka G20 meeting. The first G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting under India's presidency will be held in Bengaluru from 5th to 7th of February. The delegates from G20 countries and guest countries will be part of the working group. In addition, leading international organizations such as World Bank, Asian Development Bank, United Nations Development Programme, International Energy Agency, Clean Energy Ministerial and International Solar Alliance, among others, will send their representatives to the meeting. Technology gaps in energy transition, low-cost financing for energy transition, energy security and diversified supply chain, industrial low-carbon transition and fuel for the future are the priority areas set for the working group discussion. Y20 Guwahati. The Youth 20 Inception meeting will also be held in Guwahati from 7th to 8th February and will be attended by 250 delegates. Moreover, 400 students of various academic institutions of Assam will also participate in the Youth 20 Inception meeting. This is the first of the various meetings to be held on the 5 Y20 themes across India in a run-up to the final Y20 summit in August 2023. The Youth 20 meeting will focus on these themes: peace building and reconciliation, future of work industry, climate change and disaster risk reduction, youth and democracy and governance, and health, well-being and sports.
G20 India 2023. One Earth, one family, one future.
A rousing welcome was given to the cruise members of the Ganga Vilas River cruise when it reached Mongla port in Bangladesh in the afternoon on Saturday. High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh Pranay Verma, State Minister for Shipping of Bangladesh Khalid Mahmood, Chairman Mongla Port Trust and host of dignitaries were present on the occasion to welcome the cruise members. Welcoming the cruise members, High Commissioner Pranay Verma said that the Ganga Vilas River cruise will open up the potential of tourism between the two countries. State Minister for Shipping, Government of Bangladesh Khalid Mahmood Chaudhry assured of the highest consideration of safety and security and comfort to the cruise members during their journey through Bangladesh. Today is the World Cancer Day. It is observed on the 4th of February every year to create awareness on cancer as a public health issue and to strengthen actions towards improving access to quality care, screening, early detection, treatment and palliative care. This year the theme is Close the Care Gap, which is about understanding the inequities in cancer care and taking actions to make the necessary progress to address them. Talking to All India Radio News, Dr. M.D. Ray of Surgical Oncology, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi said that there is no need to be afraid of cancer disease as 80% of the cases are preventable. Dr. Ray said the cancer is curable if it is detected early. Sri Lanka is celebrating 75 years of independence on 4th of February under the theme Namo Namo Mata, a step towards a century. The main ceremony of the National Independence Day celebrations was held today morning at 8:30 a.m. at the Girl Face Green in Colombo. A special cultural arts festival, Lankara Lanka, was held yesterday at Independence Square in Colombo. The Jaffna Cultural Centre, which was built under an Indian grant, will also be open next week. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today congratulated his Sri Lankan counterpart Ali Sabri and the government and people of Sri Lanka on 75 years of their independence. In his message, Dr. Jaishankar affirmed that India will always remain a dependable partner and a reliable friend of the island nation guided by the Neighbourhood First policy. Union Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan, who had reached Colombo last night, participated in the Independence Day celebrations held today.
The celebration of 75 years of Sri Lanka's independence under the theme Namo Namo Mata, a step towards a century, have commenced. A special cultural arts festival, Lankara Lanka, was held yesterday at Independence Square in Colombo. To participate in the celebrations, Minister of State V. Muralidharan reached Colombo last night. During his visit, he will also have separate bilateral interactions with President Ranil Wickremesinghe and the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Ali Sabri. He will also have an interactive session with prominent members of the Indian diaspora. Several events are lined up to commemorate the celebrations over the year, which includes Sri Dalada exhibition in Kandy, exhibition of Kapilavastu Buddhist relics, exposition of sacred Buddhist relics from China and Pakistan, and an exhibition in Anuradhapura. The Jaffna Cultural Centre, which was built under an Indian grant assistance, will also be opened next week. Ahmed Moin Farooqi, Colombo.
Speaking exclusively with our special correspondent, Mr. Muralidharan said that in terms of India's neighbourhood first policy, India walked the talk.
We are here with Minister of State V. Muralidharan, who is here on a two-day visit to Sri Lanka on the occasion of 75th Independence Day of Sri Lanka. To begin with, how significant is this year for both India and Sri Lanka?
See, this year marks the 75th year of independence for Sri Lanka as well as for India. India has just begun the Amrit Kal, completing the 75 years of India's independence, going towards the 100 years, which the Prime Minister has termed as Amrit Kal. This year also marks the 75th year of India's diplomatic ties with Sri Lanka. Beyond that, I would say that those from the Tamil-speaking plantation laborers, they came to Sri Lanka almost 200 years ago. This year marks the 200th year of that. And in Kandy, our commissioner, the consulate, or I can say the India office, that was also established in 1923, which marks the 100th year of that. So our engagement and relationship with Sri Lanka has got many milestones which coincides with this year. So this year we should also know that the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman that was awarded, this year Mr. Kumar Naresan, who hails from the Tamil-speaking Indian community, he was awarded the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman. So all these things, it's not only my visit to Sri Lanka, but we will be celebrating all these things in the coming days. The 200th year of Tamil Indians coming to Sri Lanka, the diplomatic relations getting established, the 100th year of the establishment of the Kandy office, all these things. So that way, all these things come together on this significant occasion.
So India has proven that it is a very trustworthy and a credible partner, a partner for all the neighborhood countries and for the extended neighborhood as well. India had provided an unprecedented assistance to Sri Lanka last year. How do we look at India's partnership going ahead with Sri Lanka in the future?
See, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's policy has been neighborhood first. So, in that, when Sri Lanka underwent through a difficult situation in their economic field, especially, it was India's responsibility of walking the talk of the dictum of neighborhood first policy was put into action by engaging with and helping and coming to the assistance of Sri Lanka to overcome the crisis that they were undergoing. And India has always been, especially the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and our External Affairs Minister Sri Jaishankar ji, has always been keeping very good relationship with the Sri Lankan government as well as its people. So when this situation came, it was natural for us to come to assist them tide over the crisis.
So India has assumed the presidency of G20 from December 1st of 2022, and it is going to continue for the entire year. India has also held Voice of Global South Summit, and several countries had participated virtually. India has been the voice for the Global South going into this year. How do you see it materialize for Sri Lanka here?
See, Prime Minister, when we assumed the presidency of the G20, he said the theme for this year's India's presidency will be Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, one world, one family, one future. With that theme, naturally, India assuming the presidency doesn't mean that we go to the G20 to express the limited view of India only, but India will express the views of the Global South. India will represent the aspirations of the Global South. And Sri Lanka being part of that community, definitely India looks forward to the coming days to engage with all these countries, including Sri Lanka, regarding the various issues that they are undergoing through and how collectively we can make efforts to overcome all those problems.
So Indian origin Tamils constitute a huge population here. Their issues have been going on since the time that Sri Lanka got independence. India has been at the forefront of getting their rights, and at the same time when External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar was here, he had also stressed upon India's views with respect to the Indian origin Tamils and their rights. How do you see this go ahead?
See, the Prime Minister as well as our External Affairs Minister had raised this issue at the appropriate forum, including with the leadership of the Sri Lankan government. And I see a welcome sign in today's Independence Day celebrations that they chose to have the national anthem sung in both the languages. It shows the message of inclusivity that they want to have to engage and take together all the different societies of the Sri Lankan community, Sri Lankan citizens, whether it is the Tamil speaking or the Sinhala speaking. So I am sure that in the coming days India will continue to take up those issues And as expressed by our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar ji, it is in Sri Lanka's interest that the issues of the Sri Lankan Tamils are also addressed. So I'm sure that we look forward to it in a very positive way.
So one last question before we conclude. India is a very strong partner for Sri Lanka and has been one of the most important ones with respect to tourism and investments. External Affairs Minister Sir Dr. Jaishankar, when he was here, talked about continued investments in Sri Lanka as well as stress on improving connectivity and to boost tourism. Where do you see these efforts go ahead?
I feel that India is now performing very well as an economy, and we have now become the 5th largest economy. There is a lot of support for Indian businessmen or entrepreneurs, whoever goes abroad or whoever is initiating into such efforts. So with the support of the Government of India, Indian entrepreneurs are now confident of going anywhere in the world, including Sri Lanka, to set up their enterprises. And Sri Lanka has been attracting the largest number of Indian tourists all these years. Of course, during the COVID, there were some disruptions in that. But now, since we have overcome the COVID and the ease of travel that is getting established, so I look forward to a scenario where more number of tourists will be coming to Sri Lanka, more number of investments will be coming to Sri Lanka, and definitely the people-to-people ties, which has been existing since long, centuries, that will definitely be a helping aspect in improving these ties.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
The minister interacted with Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Sri Lankan Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sapri and discussed issues of mutual interest. The minister will conclude his visit on Sunday morning. Youth and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur launched the mascot theme song and jersey for the 3rd edition of Khelo India Winter Games at Raj Bhavan in Jammu on Saturday. Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir Manoj Sinha and other dignitaries were present on the occasion. During the launch ceremony, Anurag Singh Thakur said Khelo India Winter Games is part of Khelo India Abhiyan, a thought of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to encourage youth towards games and make India an emerging soft sports power on the global stage. The 3rd edition of Khelo India Winter Games are scheduled to be held from 10th to 14th of this month and is supported by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports and is being organized by the Jammu and Kashmir Sports Council as well as the Winter Games Association of J&K. Around 1,500 athletes from across the country will take part in the games. The main attractions during the mega event are snowshoe race, ice skating, ice hockey, skiing, Nordic ski, snowboarding, ski mountaineering and ice stock among others. And now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Globe and Mail reports U.S. Secretary of State cancels Beijing trip after Chinese surveillance balloon drifts through Canada into the U.S. The Washington Post writes, killing of top ISIS militant casts spotlight on group's broad reach in Africa. The Financial Times reports Elon Musk wins investor lawsuit over Tesla funding secured tweet. The New York Times writes, ties to Kabul bombing put ISIS leader in Somalia in U.S. crosshairs. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. India, France and the UAE to establish a trilateral cooperation initiative in the energy, defense, economy and other areas of mutual interest. The first G20 Energy Transition Working Group meeting under India's presidency to be held in Bengaluru from 5th to 7th of February. India's macroeconomic fundamentals not affected by Adani Group's FPO withdrawal, says Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Sri Lanka celebrates 75 years of its independence today. New Delhi says it will stand by Colombo in its hour of need. Ganga Vilas cruise reaches Bangladesh amidst a warm welcome. India observes World Cancer Day on Saturday. Focus on early detection and affordable treatment. And in sports, the mascot, the theme song and jersey for Khelo India Winter Games launched by Union Minister of Sports in Jammu. And now before we end, let's listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Sri Lanka.
वैष्णव जन तो तेरे कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने रे पर दुख के उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान.
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.